Alrighty, little time-lapse video for you here of myself doing a shoe rack. Was not happy with our disastrous solution with our shoes just kind of thrown around. We had bought a shoe rack before. It was terrible and flimsy, so just wanted to build my own. I am first time using the Craig Jig rib cut, so you see me making a couple of shallow passes just to ease into the full depth cut, just making sure everything falls on my line. No working ahead or plans for this. I just had an idea in my brain of how I wanted to build it and just started with that. So my flat portions, or my runs where I'm going to actually be putting the shoes, I did have those at 13 inches deep, and these will be getting a 1x2 lip on the fronts. This is only built with a single sheet of plywood and some 1x2s that I bought from Lowe's, trying to keep it super simple. I did have the lumber for a little bit, so you'll see some of that lumber is moved on me and was not stored properly. But I do use the lumber with itself to kind of get everything straightened and secured. I'm not building this with any glue or any other fasteners other than some screws, just because I wanted to try it out first, see if I liked my angle, see if I liked my positioning before I will again take it apart. I will be doing maybe a separate video on the finishing process. As it is, it's just raw, put together, and being utilized right now. If I want any changes, I can do so still, and then figure out my final product prior to gluing and screwing everything together permanently, finishing it, and painting is what I think my solution is going to be for this one. As I said before, I did not pre-build a plan or anything, so this is me just double checking kinda in the moment to see how I wanted my angle to fall and see what my widths would need to be. Fortunately, my angle, I want to say, is around 60 degrees, maybe, give or take, something like that. You'll see it here in a little bit. And I'm actually able to keep my sides the same depth as my runs. So it's all ripped to 13 inches, and that gives me a little piece at the end that I actually cut in half at a 45, because this is going to be hanging on the wall with the French cleat. You'll also see that towards the end. I did talk and have others more in-depth explanations on the camera, but this is outside since the garage was full of stuff and it's a disaster. And the wind was far too noisy, and I apologize for the shadows and all the stuff happening. But I needed to get this done quickly. I'd had the lumber, like I said, for 3-4 weeks, and it was in the way. So I needed to get this project done and moving on. I am just using some cabinet screws. Again, nothing special. They are 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches. Obviously it's 3/4 material, so you wanted to go through that into everything. The back is open, so it's just the top, some sides with the cross members, and then at the top a French cleat. And that's just me double checking and marking where I wanted to pre-drill my screw holes. You will notice in this I made a mistake to where the finished portions of this, I just laid them the same direction, pre-drilled my holes, so I ended up having one side being the, I suppose, paintable or exterior side of the wood, and the other more finished side that can take some treatments. Is opposite. So instead of flipping the piece over and doing it that way, I did make a mistake here. You will see me start to look at the pieces as I try and screw them together, like, what did I do? But that's what happens when you go into things without a plan. And again, just a couple hours just to throw this together, get the wood out of the garage, and get a functioning, much better solution for our shoes. other garage projects are coming. I am going to do a full set of cabinet build, cabinet build project to get some storage in there. We have a very nice large garage, but no solutions other than some Rubbermaid track system around the perimeter. Using the Milwaukee just screw gun here. I forget what the official name is. It's a freaking wonderful tool. It has the 4 bits or the 4 ends that you can change out. It's got a regular chuck, a right angle, an offset, and then just the main normal chuck. And I use that sucker for everything. I've even used it, although it took a very long time, I have even used it with a masonry bit to drill through or create some holes in porcelain tile. Again, I wouldn't recommend that because it took a long time, but my main drill had the battery had run out, and that's the only solution I had that day. This is just me putting in one of those middle sections just to, again, look at everything, hold it there. I'm putting the top on using some right angle. I think these are from Harbor Freight, these little right angle clamps, because I'm all alone and I just wanted to hold it at the good 90-degree angle. I don't have a workbench either. That'll be a later project, so I am working on the ground. I do have my foam down there that I was doing all my rib cutting with. Hope to have a track saw soon. Any recommendations on preferences? If anybody sees this, leave it in the comments. So yeah, got those screws in. Again, did the same thing on the other side, 90-degree clamps, just to hold it so I wouldn't have to struggle and try and keep it in place. Put it in there, clamped it together nice and tight. Put 4 screws in, I think, each end. Unnecessary. I don't think 3 would have been fine. It's only 13 inches. So, but again, this shoe rack will be completely taken apart, finished, painted, put back together, and then all the screw holes will be filled. It will be glued, and then I'll be sanding it, finishing it, and painting it once we live with it. I do want the ability at the moment to see if I want to change any of the structure and or change the angle of the portion that actually holds the shoes. And that's just me testing my piece of wood to make sure the shelf doesn't hit that portion. Like I said, it will be held up on the wall with the French cleat. Later on in the video, as we'll get there, you'll see me notch out these side pieces because there's a large piece of trim on the bottom that also helps support this lower rack. So we keep going. Shelf number 2. There is a total of 4 of these shelves. Full project, once again, just as a reminder, it's 1 full sheet of 3/4 inch birch ply, and then I just bought 4-foot pieces of 1x2. I knew I have a 4-foot section of wall. I knew I was gonna have, just rip the plywood down and keep everything that same dimension, and there's the total outside. So I put the side screws in, and then you'll see me just put the front screw in just to make sure everything kind of lines up on the face of the front the same. Later on in the video, you'll notice that top right shelf, the right side of it actually shifted on me, and I fastened it the wrong way. Since again I am working on an uneven surface by myself, I end up adjusting that and correcting it later. But one of the advantages of not putting this together with glue and everything at the moment was that I could make those adjustments and see how everything flowed. I may release some plans for this later. If people want, let me know, just for free or something. But again, super simple. It's all the same dimension. It's just ripped width-wise at 13 inches each, leaving you that little strip. I think I would have liked that strip to be a little bit longer, wider for the French cleat. I also off-cut it just a little bit to give me more beef on the portion that is attached to the shoe rack. The wall portion doesn't need to be as beefy to me, so you'll see I have a wider strip and a shorter strip. Wider strip goes on the actual shoe rack, and the shorter piece that's not as wide is being put on the wall. I have coffee in this video a lot. My coffee mug is everywhere. Can't do these without coffee. And yes, I did almost attach that the wrong way around, because that's what happens when you go through something without a plan. So that's me double checking to make sure I had it the right way around. I want to say on the edge of this piece, on the sides, is 2 screws, and then I put 5 along the top, side, center, and then split the difference. It's funny to see that I am actually talking in this video. It was unfortunate about the wind. I thought I was going to get away with being able to just talk through it, and there it goes. Whoopsie-daisy. So yeah, just lined it up, kept it flush with the back. You can see the back of the shelves are set in just a little bit with that angle, which is great, because you could technically put a backer on this and just leave it freestanding if you wanted to. If you didn't want to attach it to the wall, you could put a section of 3/4 inch and just place it in there. I did not want to, I don't have a dado or a saw that can do a dado, but I do have router, and I did not want to route out the shelves or anything. It's unnecessary. It's just going to hold some shoes, and it was a down and dirty thing. That's just me checking my measurements, telling you guys that I'm checking my measurements. So the piece will be right below the garage door opener. There was just previously I had a Rubbermaid rack here that held some of the shoes, and it just became a place to dump stuff. So I wanted to get rid of that, and then our shoes just got piled on the floor down there where I kept it out of the camera view, and I was tired of it. So that's me. French cleat going on the wall. This wall was extremely out of, what is that, plum? I mean, it just had such a massive bow in it. I was really surprised because I did not see that before. Even with the Rubbermaid shelving, where you hang the down rods on the Rubbermaid track system and then screw them into the wall, I just couldn't believe how off that is. So I'm just using my Stanley 6-foot level to kind of see where it is. I do try and hang the shoe rack on it without any shims, just because my brain, I would rather have it tight up against the wall. But you will see I do take it down. Hey, there's my son. I do take it down, and I add some shims. I actually didn't show you the other part, so it was just so bad. I cut myself some shims from some scrap 2x4s, shimmed it, got it close, and kept on trucking. You will also see me, I take this piece back off the wall, and I trim it about a 1/2 inch, just to give me room to be able to slide the shoe rack left or right. The wall is just over 4 foot, and I wanted to sneak it more to the right just because it is right by that door. It looks like it overlaps the door here. It does not. It's actually quite comfortable to walk in and out of the door. The camera angle doesn't give it justice. And again, I do notch out the rear of my shoe rack at the bottom. If you see that trim down there, I do let it rest on the trim. I did notice, I didn't check it previously, you would think I would, but the trim was not level, and so I ended up having to take it off a couple times, because I don't know why I didn't just measure it. Anyways, I just wanted to notch the back. I got it sitting barely onto that trim, but it was fully seated on the French cleat. And then I asked my wife to help me because it was out of square from all the moving and the racking. Again, the French cleat keeps it level, and the bottom I did push it into square at the top, and my wife drove in. I had some Kreg jig holes at the bottom, and she just screwed those in for me, and then I finished the right side. And obviously she couldn't wait for me to get out of the way and have it fully put up before she started loading it full of shoes, because we were both extremely frustrated with the disaster of the shoe zone. And that's me checking that right side, because just standing back you could see it just a little bit off, and it stuck out a little bit past the front of the shoe rack. So that's me just double checking my measurements. Screw hole was right. I just must have slid sometime when I was trying to put it together earlier. And that's me fixing it up. I don't know if I'll do another video on this shoe rack to show what it's finished or not. I'm happy with it. It's functioning. It's been about 2 weeks now that we've actually been using it, and it's great. Next time. Love any comments, constructive criticisms. Don't be a douche in the comments. And if you are, that's fine, because it probably will add to the algorithm or something. I don't even understand the algorithm. So anyways, feel free, positive, negative, whatever you want. There's my phone, and it's time to go. It's my sister. Peace out. What's up, sis?